Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Prison Architect. This is sorry, this is episode 5. So we're gonna go over a couple more things in this video. First off, I guess we'll get the medical, laundry, cleaning, go over some deployments and logistics. Now, some stuff I did off camera. Now, yes, I do realize my prison is very dirty, but we'll get that done. So you might notice these things here. So what I've gone and done in between episodes is I have put in metal detectors. Now these things are great. So I put one right here so that all the prisoners, as soon as they come in, they'll get checked for, you know, they have shanks or anything. Maybe they're hiding up their butt, just in case they missed anything in reception. You know, classic prison things. I also like to put one next to the visitation, because what will happen is the people coming into the prison don't get checked for anything. They just come in, whatever, and I don't think the metal detectors, they don't work on them. But what will happen is they'll pass whatever they have, they'll give them to the inmate, and what will happen is when the inmate leaves, the metal detector will then go off, and then we can catch them. So that's a good thing. I put some here, just because that's where the parole is and the holding cells, so that way if a prisoner hides something in here, you kind of want to make sure you got all of your sort of choke points covered. So here, once again, this whole room here, I put it right there. That way any prisoner coming out of here has to go, or going in, has to go through these metal detectors. Same with the canteen, because I don't want a guy stealing a knife or a fork, friggin' going back to his room and shanking a buddy. Now you might notice that we have some injured inmates here. Now, pretty much as soon as I quit recording the last video, what happened was a fight broke out in the yard here, and one of the prisoners actually died because he was a snitch. He was considered a snitch. And so what happened is, hold on a second, I'm gonna just, this door is shut. You have to go around, okay? Get out of here, you have to go around. So what happened is he was found out to be a snitch by these prisoners. Now, because I don't have intelligence yet, I don't have intelligence unlocked. Oh, literally, as I say, I don't have it unlocked. It unlocks. Great. So I didn't have it unlocked like 2 seconds ago. What happened is they found out that one guy was a snitch. I don't know who he was, and so they tried to kill him, which they were successful, and they did end up killing him. So that's now that I have it unlocked, I guess we can go over that as well. So I've placed putting the finishing touches on all of these. So you'll notice that I also made sorry, my voice is going all crazy. I also made solitary cells. So what solitary cells are is when your prisoners are bad. Here, let's go to policy. Yes. So what happens is the policy. We haven't set policy yet, but so let's say they attacked prisoner. The punishment is they get locked down. And serious injury. So what happened? They attacked them. Whatever. We send them to their cells. You know, they'd go back. It's done. It's over with. You know, they take a little breather. They can come back. But since it was serious injury, well, and pretty much they killed a guy, what happened is then he gets solitary. And I do believe that if they kill a person in prison, here, let's see, maybe this guy attacked. Okay, well, one of these guys that was in solitary, one of these guys that in solitary, will get tacked onto his sentence, the killing of the other inmates, so that'll just make his sentence even longer. So that pretty much covers what I did off camera. Otherwise, you can see all of these cells and these things here that I have to set up, and we'll set up in a second, and that'll be a part of the video. So we'll get some pipes running through here. Oh, these are right here. Perfect. Bang, bang, bang. Easy. I guess I don't really need to do that. It's right there, but here, look, we'll connect these ones, and we'll connect these ones, and we'll connect these ones, and everybody's happy. We're going to have to do some other connections down here, but we'll worry about that later. So we'll start off with the medical. I started the medical, but basically, for the infirmary, essentially it needs to be indoors, and you need to have medical beds. So once these medical beds will get set up, what will happen is I'll hire a doctor. So then finally these guys and the guards will be able to get medical attention. You can also, in the infirmary, you can also run classes for your prisoners. For prisoners who have drug addictions will go here and, you know, learn that drugs are bad and things like that. And then I also put the morgue. I like to put the morgue next to the infirmary. Kind of dark, but you got to put the morgue somewhere. So essentially, the morgue, all you need are these morgue slabs. So what'll happen is if a prisoner dies, he'll get put on here, and then what'll happen is a hearse will come, pick him up, take him out. See you later. I mean, usually you don't want your prisoners dying. It's pretty much a bad thing, but it happens. It's prison, right? Stuff happens. So these guys are in here now. They're probably thinking about tunneling or something, so we'll have to get some dogs soon. Hopefully we'll go to our bureaucracy. So far, so pretty much look at all our security stuff. Great. We'll start researching dogs because dogs are excellent. Surveillance, we don't really need too much, but we'll get surveillance simply because surveillance has the ability to listen in on inmate phone calls, and that way it's just a little added security for your prisoners. Now we'll have to get some prison labor. We'll get a cleaning guy. Well, we have a cleaning guy. I think we need a groundskeeping guy. Legal prep, great. We'll get a death row later on. Death row. They added a couple of months ago into the game. Everybody wanted it, but it's sort of it's kind of not what you think. It hits you in the feels sort of thing. So it's like yeah, this guy did some really bad stuff, but you know you're the one that still has to kill him. So they do a pretty good job of sort of getting that feel. So here we go. We'll slap a couple jail doors on here. We have plenty of rooms for the rest of the inmates. I don't know if I mentioned this before, but I like to put the jail doors in last. Oops. Simply because what'll happen is if you put the jail doors on, what'll happen is your worker will go in here, put the bed in, the door will close behind him, then he can't get out, so then a guard has to come in and take him out. So we won't bother to do that. I like to just put them on last. So anyway, so that's the infirmary. Oh, I guess it doesn't have any power in there. Alright. You also got to pay attention when you build a whole new room like that gets cut off. Now it needs its own power supply kind of thing. So set that up. How is our power, by the way? Let's see how we're doing here. Oh, great. Okay. So you know what? We'll add another. We'll add a capacitator or 2 or 3. That way we definitely don't run out of power. We're gonna have to get a new generator soon. So this yard is for the high risk once I finally make those guys. Oh, and I said I was gonna hire a gardener. There we go. Why not? We'll hire 2 gardeners, 1 more janitor. There we go. And go along their merry way. Now the gardeners, you'll see they'll clean up all these leaves and whatnot off paths and everything like that. So that's what those guys will do. This guy, oh, what's he doing? Oh, he's going to his cell. Alright, sounds good. So we'll start with the laundry. Now the laundry, okay, your prisoners eventually will want clean prison uniforms. They don't want to sit around in their filthy, dirty prison uniforms for the whole 25-year sentence that they're here, because essentially their uniforms will be pretty much non-existent. So what we're going to do is we're going to set up the laundry. So what's kind of neat is that rooms that you sort of have things that you need to still put in them, or that you have, is there'll be highlighted items around them here. So for instance, we need a laundry machine, so we'll put in a couple. We'll put in a couple laundry machines. 1, 2, 3, 4. Why not? Put 4. And we need a couple laundry baskets. Put them along here. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we'll make some ironing. Put an ironing board right there. There we go. One guy will do all the ironing, I guess. Now, you know what? Let's put it there. And there we go. So we'll have 2 baskets. And we'll get rid of a laundry machine too, actually. Sorry. I mean, we already bought them, so we can just, use them later. Don't want those. There we go. We'll have 3 laundry machines. There we go. So once those are all built, that'll be the laundry. Now we'll also need power hooked up to them, as well as some pipes. So we'll run a pipe through here, and we'll connect all of them. There we go. So they both need water and electricity. So the cleaning cupboard is great. It doesn't require anything. All it requires is, I think, has to be 3x3. Yeah, it has to be 3x3. That's it. Otherwise, they put in the bleach that they use to bleach the floors. That's what they do to. That's your workers, I think, bring those in. So that's that. So library, another fairly, I'll say it's fairly recent thing that they put in the game is the library. So your prisoners can come here and they can check out books and what have you. So this also is a job. So we'll get a library shelf. So we'll pop some shelves in here. Pop a couple shelves. There we go. There we go. And then we'll put a sorting desk right there, right next to there. So they got to walk in. And so what'll happen is, you see the shelves are empty. So what happens is, over the game, books get delivered. I guess there's some sort of pretend sort of book program that people on the outside can send books to the inmates, and so what'll happen is, slowly your workers will come here, they'll drop libraries over here. They'll drop off books in the library, and then your inmates working here will sort them and put them on the shelves. So slowly, it's kind of neat. Slowly the shelves will sort of fill up because of the prisoners working in here. So I guess we'll get to I guess we'll start with deployment. Start with deployment first. We'll try to get through all of this. So I have a couple of guys deployed. So what you want to do, so we're running a medium security prison, so that'll be the medium security infirmary, morgue. Same thing with all of these sorts of things here. These are all, I like to just cover everything medium security sort of things there. This will be all open to anybody. Maybe we'll change the chapel a little later, but essentially all of these are open to medium security. Now the white is shared, so the reception is shared, this main hallway is shared, all of these sort of rooms are shared. That means that any prisoner in the prison is allowed to be in these areas when they have to be. Also, another one is staff only. So for instance, staff room, I put a staff only, and security is staff only. Now the reason I make both of these staff only is because your prisoners, once they run out of places to clean in here, I find that a lot of them, they'll then clean the hallways, or then they'll come into these rooms and clean all of these rooms. So I don't want any prisoners going into my security office, because that would be bad for security, right? You wouldn't want them to go into your gun locker kind of thing, which later on when we get armed patrols, right, we don't want them going into our armory. So, and the same with the staff room, same with this little hallway is a staff only hallway. That way staff don't have to worry about the prisoners sort of attacking them or anything. And then eventually we'll get into maximum security, as you can see in the red, protected custody, and supermax. I think we should get a couple more guards, simply because we have a couple more prisoners, so we'll get five more guards. They can do guard stuff, I don't know, whatever they're doing. So anyways, back to deployment. So what we'll do is we'll get a guard patrol. So I like to set up guard patrols right here where the cells are. So they go from end to end. Maybe we can get rid of that one. Go from end to end. So what you do is you click and drag where you want the patrol, and then you left click, and then, you left click, hold it down all the way, and then you left click where you want to guard, and see, oh, the guard's coming. So I like these just to make sure that the prisoners are, they're not trying to dig a tunnel to China or something. Same thing, I'll do the same thing here, and we'll get another guard patrol here. Except, you know what, I'm going to move this guard patrol, I'm going to move it over here, that way he has a little bit of space in between. And once again, we'll plop him there. So there we have two guards there. Always want a guard in the yard. I always like that. That rhymed too. And in the canteen, just in case, because prisoners are allowed to go here during their free times to just hang out, do whatever. So I like to make sure that there's guards in those areas as well. So back to deployment. So another thing that's cool to set up. So you have this deployment scheduler here. So we'll go to our regime. So okay, so the prisoners are up. So at 9 and 10 a.m., okay, 9 and 10 a.m., okay, on deployment 1, okay, so deployment 1, there's going to be, there we go, there's going to be 2 guards there. And then, let me just take, there we go. So when we get to deployment 1, we'll go there. So you got to put this little red thing. So make sure that there's at least 2 more guards in there. So when there's nothing going on, there will only be 1 guard, but once mealtime comes around, because all the prisoners are going to be there, we're going to want more security, so I put it to deployment 1. So, and then they also eat again at 5 and 6, so we'll move it to 5 and 6 and change it to deployment 1. Boom, there we go. Alright, so now to the yard. I also want more security in the yard when all the prisoners are going to be in the yard. So between 11 and 12. So 11, what's going to happen is you're going to have to do it to deployment 2. Now you can have up to 10 or something like that. So deployment 2, you're going to want 2 more guards in there as well. So that's it. 11 and 12, 3 and 4 is deployment 2. And finally, where is it? 8, 9, and 10. Eventually, once we get work, we'll fill these times up with work, but as for now, we don't, so we gotta fill them with something else, and boom, okay, great. So, close that, close that. So now, what'll happen, we'll look once we get there, but the guards will at least be 3 in the canteen while they're there. So, oh, and you see the books are already dropped off, so we're gonna need some prison jobs. So we'll go to logistics. One thing before I do that, I'd like to point out is one thing that I like to do is give the prisoners free time right in the morning. So that allows them to get up. They can use the bathrooms. They can have showers. I don't necessarily make them force shower time in the morning, just because some prisoners don't want to have a shower right away. They want to do other stuff. They might want to come lift weights, so they might want to make a phone call or something. So that way, if you give them free time in the morning, makes it a lot easier. For your prison heat to stay down, your prison danger level. I don't know. Looks like a little heat bar or something. So we'll buy another cook just because these guys seem overloaded because we need more meals for the prisoners. Great, so they eat. So now you'll see they'll all come in here, and there should be. So you see under the guard it says he's stationed here. It should say. So here are his buddies coming. So now we have 3 guards that are all stationed in here to keep the peace. All right. Jeez Louise, we've done a lot. All right, we'll keep going. A little bit more. So we got deployment pretty much. Dog patrols and armed patrols are the same thing. Click and drag, add them where you want. Basically the same thing. Oh, great! And here we go. So with our new influx of prisoners. Oh, see, this guy has a lighter. That guy had a hammer. So it's nice to have before they get into the prison, because if those guys brought those things into the prison, well, wouldn't be too good. So now we'll go to logistics. So right now, prison labor, so we can get our guys to work. So we want our guys, so max 7 jobs. So we'll give those guys 4. Here we go, 3 for that. Unfortunately, some of these guys aren't qualified, so we're going to have to get a classroom set up. Same thing, we're going to have to get the, some kitchen jobs set up. But once, we'll just fill these up, because once they learn how to do those, then they'll be able to jump right into their jobs. So food distribution, you can see from your logistics window, food distribution. So that means that this cell, that's this cell block, that cell block, and the holding cell. All of these guys come here to eat, and this is the kitchen that feeds this canteen. So you can kind of see that. So right now our demand is a little higher than our supply, but we hired a new cook, so we'll be good to go. So laundry, same sort of idea. The laundry room here supplies this cell. The reception, this, geez, I keep saying cell, but I mean cell block. The cell block, that cell block, and the holding cell. Finally, room quality is a fairly new thing to the game that I really don't quite understand. So what happens is so this is a grade 1 room. So what happens is you see all these red portions here. So when you fill those up with, what does it say? Their office desk, shower head, TV, radio, blah, 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 bookshelf, chair. When you fill those rooms up, the rooms sort of get better. So it's like a hotel almost. So it's like the bigger the room, the more stuff's in it, it's going to be more expensive. So kind of in this game, being more expensive is how good your prisoner is. So for instance, the occupants of these rooms, okay, so the room is a grade 1, and the occupant is entitled to a grade 1 because he's been good. So so with this room, if you look, the room is a grade 1. However, the occupant is entitled to a grade 2, which means that he's been a good boy in prison. He thinks, and the rest of the prison thinks, that he should be able to move into a better cell. So let's say I had better cells in my prison. I might build some just to show, but let's say I had better cells in my prison. What I would then do is then I would move that guy, or I would move him, but the game, he would automatically move into that cell because he's entitled to it. So that's kind of that. I haven't really dug deep into it. So hopefully next video what we'll do, we'll get a classroom so we can get some learning, and we'll go into, I think it's in here, and programs. So we'll go into programs. So you see in here workshop safety, all that kind of stuff. We'll go into that next episode, and we'll get all that done so we get some prison labor, get some prisoners working in our prison. Thank you very much. I hope you guys have been enjoying this as much as I have. Oh, see, our workers are just doing nothing and being lazy bums because we don't have any work for them. But next episode we'll make them work. So, and like I said before, infirmary. Quick before we go, we'll buy a doctor. There we go. Doctor can now heal. Look, there you go. Doctor's healing them. Good to go. So that's this episode. Thanks for watching, and we'll be trucking along here. I hope it's been helpful, and I'll see you guys next time.